Welcome to the Ghostly Gallery podcast, a place where we explore the world of horror and mystery in film, television, books, and popular culture. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another show. My name is Bruce Markison. As always, I'm joined by co-host and producer Tracy Asteria. Tracy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Bruce. Kind of getting into the, I don't want to say Christmas spirit, but I'm almost ready to put that Christmas tree up and start watching Christmas scary movies. How's everything been going with you?
Good. You mentioned that as soon as Halloween is over, it is amazing the amount of advertising that shifts over to Christmas. We
Yes.
get the Hallmark channel, and it's like every commercial is related to Christmas gifts or promoting their upcoming Christmas films, which seemingly go on endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do not wait for Halloween to be buried. They go right into the Christmas season. It's almost full 2 months. Crazy.
Yep. No, absolutely. I went to the grocery store the day after Halloween to pick up a couple of different things, and it was an instant transformation. Like everything Halloween was gone, and out came all the Christmas candy. I was like, what? But yeah, I think everybody is in such a rush to get it done, and I'm here for it. So I'm going to probably wait till next weekend and just reform everything.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Christmas. Sue is a huge fan of Christmas. We have big family get-togethers. It's a great holiday. And of course, you can tie in ghost storytelling. Definitely part of the Christmas tradition, even though that's gotten somewhat forgotten in American society, but it's still present there, at least a little bit. So yeah, Christmas, it's great, but it is amazing how quickly they turn the switch from one holiday to another. Of course, we never turn the switch off of ghosts and horror and monsters and all that good stuff. And we're certainly not turning off the switch with this week's episode. Our guest, we're very pleased to have Larry Underwood. Larry is a horror writer and actor who is probably best known as the Nashville-based horror host Dr. Gangrene. I love the name. Since 1999, he's been hosting a show in the state of Tennessee. At first, the show was called Chiller Cinema. Then it became Creature Feature, and now known as Dr. Gangrene's Cinetarium. Another great name. It does air at 9 p.m. Central on Saturday nights. Just to give you an idea, Tracy, of Larry's resume, it's really impressive. He has won 8 Rondo Classic Horror Awards. They include Best Website. He won one a few years back for his Go Green with Dr. Gangrene PSA campaign. Also has one for Best Horror Blog, one for Best Short Film for H.P. Lovecraft's The Beast in the Cave, and three times running, 2016, 17, and 18, one for Best Columnist for his Scary Monsters magazine column. So Larry has done it all, and he has gotten a ton of awards. He's also a member, we should mention, of the Horror Host Hall of Fame. Very prestigious. Larry Underwood. Larry, welcome to the Ghostly Gallery. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here and rattling off some credentials there. That's great. Thank you.
Well, they're all legitimate. I haven't exaggerated a bit. We're very glad to have a chance to talk to you. As I mentioned off air, you're highly recommended by our friend Jeff Thompson, who's been a frequent guest on this program. So right off the bat, Larry, let's talk about when your interest in horror began. Let's go back to childhood, a little bit later on. Trace that for us, if you will.
Oh, and I would have to say back to when I was a kid. Yeah, probably, Halloween was probably the holiday of Halloween was probably where it was born, just having so much fun dressing in costumes. I've got pictures my mom took of me with Frankenstein makeup on, another one with Dracula cape when I had hair and fangs and makeup. And one of my favorites was a Ben Cooper skeleton mask. I remember that costume very well. But then also watching the Universal monsters on television. That's where I saw them for the first time. And that was a big spark there. They had a afternoon program in Nashville called The Big Show, and they would show They showed a little bit of everything. They show film noir and different things, but they show horror sometimes, and they would have theme weeks where they would show like all the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies, or have a week of Frankenstein, or a week of werewolves, and that was it. I was hooked.
And your family supportive of this?
Yeah. I mean, mom and dad, they were pretty conservative growing up, so there weren't honestly the only stuff I saw when I was a kid was stuff that was on TV. And it was after I got older that I was like, hey, I can watch whatever I want. Now, of course, there wasn't there was no Texas Chainsaw or Halloween or anything like that in my house as a kid. It was, I played catch up on all that stuff later. And as a matter of fact, I've told people before, I think some of the authenticity that people got from the Chiller Cinema show was me discovering a lot of stuff for the first time, along with the character introducing it to the viewers. So I think some of that authenticity bled, some of the enthusiasm I had for it bled over, because some of that, especially obscure stuff, I was kind of finding for the first time and really enjoying.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's so cool. Do you remember the first horror movie that you saw that actually scared you?
I think the first one that got me was Salem's Lot.
Oh, nice.
Because I remember seeing it in its original broadcast on television. I had a little black and white TV in my room, and I remember watching it just as long as I could, until I got too scared, and I'd change the channel. And then I'd go back to it a little while later and watch it up until I just couldn't take it anymore.
Oh my gosh, I love that one, and I think that's one of Bruce's favorites too.
There's some good moments in that one. There really are. I need to rewatch it. It's been a while.
Oh my gosh, no, absolutely. Do you feel that it still holds up today?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Most of Toby Hooper's work, I think the early stuff holds up really well.
Oh, nice. I'm curious. Have you seen the revised version that was released? I think it was earlier. Bruce, was it earlier this year?
I think it was 2024, about a year ago.
2024, about a
Yeah,
year ago.
No, and I did. Well, they had one also, didn't they, with
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe. I was trying to.
Oh,
Rob
yes.
Snyder was coming to mind. I was like, that's not right. And then Rob
But
Lowe. I saw that one once and wasn't too impressed, but
mm,
I should probably give it a fair watch, because sometimes I can go into a remake biased. I'm not the biggest remake fan, so I have to make myself give things a fair shot. But I don't think it was too good. But no, I did not see the most recent one. Did
okay.
either of you?
Yes, we've seen it. I've not seen the one with Rob Lowe though. I'm trying to find it somewhere and can't find it anywhere. But yeah, we did see the revised version from last year. It was okay. It was not too bad. Not
Okay.
too bad.
I remember, Tracy, you were pretty hard on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, it's something that needs to be looked at again too. Because I'm not a big remake fan either, but yeah, I'm gonna have to give it another fair shot myself.
Yeah. I
That's
thought
what,
it was pretty good. I don't think it was anywhere near the level of the 1979 TV miniseries. You mentioned Toby Hooper did a great job with that. The James Mason character, that was a huge fall off in the new movie. Lewis Pullman played the David Soul lead role, and he was pretty good. He's the son of Bill Pullman, who's a terrific actor. It was pretty good. The problem is they had to kind of compact a longer story into about a 2-hour frame, whereas the TV miniseries was probably more than 3 hours. Was able to develop characters a little bit, was able to get into some of the nooks and crannies of the Stephen King story, and the newer version really could not do that. So that it wasn't quite as good, but I know I was a bigger fan than Tracy. You were pretty hard on it. You really were.
I was. It was. I know. I kind of go back and forth with it. I definitely need to see it again. Give it another go. I honestly do prefer the first one better, the original one. I thought it was excellent. But yeah, I promise I'll go back and rewatch it, Bruce.
that original just has so much atmosphere to it. And it's
Yeah.
so creepy. The music and the cinematography and, you know, the sets, everything about it, the makeup, Barlow's makeup was just, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it was great. So, Larry, in looking at your career as a horror host, I understand your primary influence was an earlier horror host in the geographic region where you are near or in Nashville, and a character named Sir Cecil Creape.
Mhm.
Tell us some of your memories of watching him on TV.
So it's spelled Cecil and he pronounces it Cecil.
Cecil.
Sir Cecil Creape. Uh, Honestly, I didn't get to watch it. Again, conservative household. We were living with my grandmother at that time. So did 71 to 73. Didn't really get to watch him. I was aware of him. Heard people at school talking about him. I met him at one time at a scouting event
Hmm.
where he had a campaign called Sir Cecil's Ghoul Patrol, where he would give out patches to scouts that the little red patch that says Sir Cecil's Ghoul Patrol on it. And I got that at that event, and I sewed it on the front of my lab coat that I wear on my show in tribute to Sir Cecil. But I was a big fan of his. When he came back in the 1980s with his second show, which was called The Phantom of the Opry, well, by this time I was in college and I had other things on my mind, you know, and so the timing didn't really work out to watch that show either. So, you know, but I always remembered Sir Cecil, and it made an impact on me just seeing the promos, seeing the you know, the commercials for the show that he would be airing, and seeing his, I've got it hanging on the wall up here, Showcase magazine. Showcase is a section of the Tennessean newspaper that's the entertainment, like an entertainment section back then. It was a weekend section, and he was on the front cover of the Showcase, and I remember that Showcase and really well from when I was a kid because I kept it and I had it for the longest time. And it wasn't until last year that I was finally able to get me one of those again. But Sir Cecil's on the front of it, and see, I'll move my camera here right so you see it.
Okay.
There he is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, um, so that's the guy. That's Sir Cecil Creape, and he's on this poster here also, which his family gave me this poster. This is a very rare, there's only a few of these left. I only know a few people that have one of these with that illustration of Sir Cecil Creape. And his family sent me that and said, it was really, it's one of the best mail days I've ever had. Came home from work and there was a tube and a package, small envelope. And I was like, what is this? And it wasn't a name I recognized. And I opened it up. That envelope, that poster was in one, and a couple of Sir Cecil Creape, a paper face mask promotional item that they printed off and gave the kids was in the other one, along with a little illustration, another different illustration of Sir Cecil with a note that said, "Thank you for everything you've done to keep Russ's memory alive." And it was amazing. So my plan with the show from day one was to do the kind of show that used to be on the air back in the 70s and that I wanted to watch so badly. It's like, well, nobody else is doing this, so I'm going to do it.
So even though you really didn't have a chance to see him, he motivated you to become a horror host.
Yes, and it was more the promos and the idea of this, and even I would think so I have memories in the back of my mind that I don't know if they're real or not. You know how that is sometimes? It's like, I remember meeting him and I think I told him, I want to do what you're doing. And he said some joke like, you know, uh, don't quit your day job or don't forget about it, kid, or something, you know, something along those lines. I also kind of remember asking my parents or my mom or my grandparents, "Hey, can I stay up and watch that?" And they were like, "No, we're not watching that. Forget it." You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Larry, does any footage of his survive? Can you find anything on YouTube or anywhere else?
Yeah, there's a few clips floating around.
Has that enabled you to incorporate any aspects of him as kind of an homage to his style?
I have one big thing that he used to do is poke fun at the sponsors. So as he was going back to
Yeah.
commercials every time, he would say, "Oh, that's more fright." Like he would say, "And now for something really frightening, the
Right.
commercials or the sponsors."
Yeah.
You know,
Well, Alfred Hitchcock did the same with his TV series. He used to make fun of the sponsors all the time. So,
and Sir Cecil absolutely lifted that from Hitchcock, and I lifted it in turn from him. So it's a fine tradition.
so Larry, how did you come up with the name of Dr. Gangrene, which is a great name? Did this happen all of a sudden, like a flash bulb, or was it something you really put a lot of thought into?
The name came from the TV show ER. Remember that TV show?
Sure.
So back in the 90s, late 90s when I was doing my show, that was like the biggest show on the air. And I work in a hospital, and I honestly used to get stopped in the hall and told all the time, "You look like that guy from ER," which was Dr. Green.
Oh, yeah.
And so Dr. Gangrene is a play on words of Dr. Green,
Anthony Edwards' character.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. It was a great show.
Yeah. And I
Great.
think they kill his character in there too.
They did. Yeah. George Clooney, that's where he really became famous, doing that role. And I mean, lots of big name actors that didn't get their start there, but they kind of made a step up. That was one of the top rated shows in the country for quite a long time. And it was on for like more than 15 years.
Yeah. So I always think of Dr. Gangrene as a twisted medical, medical provider, and his name's sort of a twisted version of Dr. Green. So that's where that came from.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. That's a good tie-in. How difficult was it to kind of get your first gig into horror hosting? Was that easy? Was that challenging?
So it was the very first thing I did was on cable access. So that was just a matter of joining cable access and kind of pitching the idea. Being on cable access originally wasn't that difficult. I started in Hendersonville, moved it to Nashville. Eventually, I was able to move the show over to the CW, where I was on for about 8 years or so over there on the CW, which was great because they gave me a package of films to host, which was the dream. I was able to host some really good stuff and some really bad stuff, and some the low budget stuff. That stuff's kind of more fun stuff, like Space Mutiny and Future Force and Future Zone, and Aerobicide was one of my favorite. AKA Killer Workout was one of my favorite ones we hosted. But some of the good ones we got to host Dreamscape and Romero's. It's not a great movie, but Bruiser, and then Total Recall. So there were some good movies in the batch as well.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so cool. In your opinion, what do you think it is about horror hosting and kind of like keeping that tradition alive?
I think it's the fun factor of it. It just adds a little extra something. I mean, we could watch these, especially public domain movies, anytime, but it's seeing what the host adds to it, that little bit of fun that they have with it, whether they're doing skits or whether they're doing more fun facts or mad experiments in the lab that go awry, whatever it is that the host is adding to it. And it's sort of a communal thing, I think. Like we're all watching this together, and you're there with this host. You're hanging out with this person who you've come to enjoy spending time with, and you look forward to every week. I mean, Svengoolie, for instance, has that national program that his fans are absolutely rabid about it. And on Twitter, I've got some people that I'm friends with on Twitter who every Friday will start tweeting, "It's Svengoolie Eve."
Oh,
We're excited to watch Svengoolie on Saturday that they're tweeting about it on Friday.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. I've never seen Svengoolie before. I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada, and I probably should try to Google somewhere to watch his show because it's I've heard so many great things about that, and there's so many different horror hosts out there. So I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool job.
Yeah. Oh, you're aware of him. He's got that national, um, you know, syndicated
That's right.
program. So yeah, good for him.
Thanks.
So, Larry, over the years, you've probably hosted hundreds of different horror films. You mentioned some of the ones you really liked, like Dreamscape, Total Recall. If you could pick out two or three of your absolute favorites that you've really enjoyed, and also maybe brought out the best of you as a host because you were so enthusiastic about the film that maybe you felt it drove your performance even better. Any two or three films that really come to mind that would be in that category?
Well, one that I really loved was I'm a big Amicus fan, as you see the Tales from the Crypt poster right there.
Yes.
Um, and there was one year when I was on the CW, I used to get a list of movies of what they had coming up, and I would check off the ones that I wanted to host. And so every month, every 3 months, he'd send me a list of what was going to be there for the next quarter. And I told him, I said, Mike, if you ever get a chance to show that you've ever find the house that dripped blood, let me know because we were on the air on the date that was Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee's birthday. And sure enough, it just happened to come up. I got a call from the program director, and he said, "You're not gonna believe this, but that movie you mentioned." I'm like, "Which one?" Because we talked about so many. His The House of Drip Blood. Yeah, we got that. I was like, "What?"
Nice.
So that was great, and we showed it on their birthday, which was even better. I love The Brain That Wouldn't Die. I've hosted that so many times, and I love that movie. I love the sleaze factor about it, and I think it's a better movie than it gets credit for. Horror Hotel's the same thing. I think that's a way better movie than it gets credit for. And then a lot of the Vincent Price stuff, I always enjoy showing the Vincent Price films, the House on Haunted Hill or The Last Man on Earth. Great stuff.
Well, you've mentioned two of my absolute favorites. House That Dripped Blood is my favorite anthology ever, and probably in my top 2025 overall. And Horror Hotel is just so atmospheric. Christopher Lee isn't on screen that much, but he's very creepy. And the actress that plays the head of the motel where the lead character is going on a research trip, she's very creepy as well. Those are two great picks. I mean, right there. I have to confess, I haven't seen The Brain That Wouldn't Die. I guess I have to see that one now.
You should. It's black and white mad science movie. That's the one where they keep the woman's severed head on the table alive. You've probably seen the pictures from
Yep.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody gave me, this is Derek Cook from the Monster Kid Radio podcast, gave me this little painting. He got this at a convention because he knew I loved that movie. This little painting of the actress from The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Yeah.
That somebody painted. And he's like, I thought you would like this, Larry. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you talked about some of the movies that you really liked. Conversely, if the movie is not particularly good, and you've aired those over the years too, does that force you to become more creative in what you do to try to carry the production?
Yeah, because Dr. Gangrene's character, I don't really, sometimes I will, but for the most part, he likes everything. And so I kind of am enthusiastic about all the movies that I show. But if it's something that, honestly, now I don't show it. I just pick movies that I like. That's all I'm hosting. But in the past, there were some duds that I showed when we were on the CW for sure. And you did have to work a little harder to find a way to make it entertaining when you yourself are thinking, man, this movie's terrible. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Was there one movie that was just so bad that you thought, my goodness, how am I going to get through this?
There were a couple of boring ones, and those are the worst ones, you know, the ones that bore your audience. I remember one of them. Oh, I can't. I'm drawing a blank on the names now. It's called the Descendant. I remember, and it had cannibalism, incest, um, some little creatures, and it just was kind of a distasteful movie across the board. And yeah, that was one I can think of that was like, we're gonna get through this.
This may sound like a stupid question, but when you're doing your show Saturday nights, is it a live presentation or have you recorded, earlier in the week? How does that work?
So the normal show is pre-recorded, and I give it to the station and they air it pre-recorded. But over the last couple of years, we've been doing a new live show. And when we do those, we do it in studio in Nashville at the Cable Access studio. I do completely live broadcast. I have a band in studio that performs live. I have a studio audience that is able to watch. We have a video projector. They watch the movie as it's being broadcast. They see it. We pause the movie and come back, and I shoot my host bits live, and I'll bring in guests who I interview live.
Nice.
And then we'll give some stuff away to the audience, and the band will play at the beginning, and then they usually do a short set at the end as well. And then we just roll straight through beginning to end, which is fantastic because I don't have to do any editing.
So when you're doing one of these live shows, which must be a blast to do, because it is unpredictable. It's like live TV back in the 40s and 50s. Have you ever shown a movie during one of these that you hadn't seen before, that you'd heard about? You always have familiarity with the movie. Yeah,
I preview everything. I mean, that's from day one. I always preview, and I'll watch it 2 or 3 times before we shoot, either live or before shooting in my studio. I have a studio at the house here.
Is it more fun to do the live shows?
Yeah, there's an energy to those live shows, because you got the crowd there, and I've got a whole crew working cameras and the video switchers and running audio, and got the band there and the live music. You get that whole live performance energy, but you can't do them too often because it requires so many. It's all volunteer stuff. We're not, paying anybody here. It's all Cable Access volunteers. So we usually have, I don't know, 6 to 10 volunteers, or even more, sometimes 15, depending on how complicated it is. I think the next one's going to be in January, but the one after that in June, I think we're going to try to do something even, kind of push it a little further and try something new, even for what we're doing, and do it outside at the Cable Access station, and have me up on top of the building and the crowd sitting in the grass outside, and have a video projector out there and the band out there. So yeah, I think we're going to have fun with that one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that sounds incredible. That sounds super incredible. Wow. Of everything that you have completed so far in your horror career, do you have a particular moment that you can share with us that is your proudest moment or your most memorable moment?
Well, last year I was able to get a marker made, a historical marker erected in Nashville for Sir Cecil Creape.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was the first horror host in the country to have a permanent historical marker dedicated in his honor. So that was a big deal. It's right outside of the house that he used to own in Nashville. That would be one. We got a proclamation from the governor of Tennessee also for our Go Green campaign. So that was pretty cool. And my son dressed as me for Halloween one year. That's probably one of the coolest things of all.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I hope you took lots of video and pictures of that.
I did not. I'm terrible. I was so busy in the moment that I didn't do it. A lot of times throughout, until, more recently, we're all more aware this is the neighbor's cat I was telling you about.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
we're all more aware of taking photos with social media and all that. We all probably do a better job now, but in those days, I was just in the moment and
Mm.
didn't think to grab a camera or a video camera, even though I would shoot the show. I don't know.
Oh, but you know what? Living in the moment is a really good thing too. There's something to be said about that. Um, I'm also kind of curious. You've been to a lot of conventions in your career. Is there a particular moment that you experienced with a fan that was really heartwarming for you?
Um, at conventions, I think it's the repeat fans, the ones that come back and are say, I've come to see you. You're the reason why I've come here. That's where I think it's the most special. I remember doing an appearance at a haunted house one time where
Wow.
we were there, and I had a little skit lined up where I grabbed a bunch of the kids, said, "Hey, come over, be in this skit." And they were all there. And then I had this big monster come up behind me. It was somebody in a costume, I don't know, maybe 8 feet tall or something with big hands, like a skeleton guy. And I had him come up behind me while I was talking to the kids, and I was, "Hey, was it scary?" "Yeah, yeah, no, yeah." And asking them questions. "What was your favorite part?" And they were all yelling different things. And like, "Okay, we're gonna go back to the movie now." Well, and the guy came up behind me and started choking me. Cut back to the part, back to the movie. So when we get done, the kids all start dispersing, and this one little kid's sort of hanging out. And he's hanging out, and he's looking at me, and then he finally comes up and he goes, "Thanks. This is something I'll always remember." And then he turned around and ran off. Uh, I looked at
Oh,
my partner at the time, Chuck. I said, "See, that's it. That's why I do this."
oh, oh, that is so sweet. Scary but sweet.
Yeah. Well, when the kids nowadays, I've been doing it so long, I'm running into people that say, "I grew up watching your show."
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something to be said about that too. That's
Exactly.
huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this for what, 26 years now. So
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, I'm curious about fans that maybe go a little bit overboard. You mentioned earlier that the fans of Svengoolie are so rabid, so intense. They start talking about his show the night before. Joe Bob Briggs, another nationally renowned horror host, he has some fans that are probably as rabid as that. Do any fans of yours take their following of you a little bit too far to the point where it's disturbing? Does that ever happen?
Not too often, a few times. Especially when we were on the CW, I used to get some late night phone calls sometimes that were like 2 in the morning, kinda, "Hey, Dr. Gangrene," that kind of thing.
How'd they
But
get your number?
yeah, it was in the phone book.
Oh,
So
really?
not,
Okay.
yeah, just
Yeah.
whatever. But
Back when phone
and,
books existed.
yeah, and I've had a few odd, you know, folks that take it a little far, but overall, not too much. I did get an old man who called the house. Forgot about that. I came home. This was after the first newspaper article ran locally in the Tennesseans. This was the fall. I think it was the fall of 2000 when the first one ran. And I came home. Then my wife at the time said, "Something on the answering machine for you." And okay. And I played it, and it was this old man. He said, "I don't know if this is the same Larry Underwood." That looked me up in the phone book again. "I don't know if it's the same Larry Underwood that's in the newspaper, plays Dr. Gangrene, but my daddy died of gangrene. You go to hell and die." I was like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Larry, in you working at a hospital, you mentioned that as your job earlier. When you're walking out on the streets, people regularly recognize you, come up to you, or not too often?
Occasionally, but not too often. I mean, it's such a niche thing. That's one reason. One thing to always keep in mind. Horror hosts hosting, even horror movies, are such a niche of a niche, and then horror hosts are a niche of that. That it's a it's like a very small, group of people. So if one of those folks sees me out, they might recognize me. But in general, Nashville is a big city.
Yeah.
Hendersonville is right outside Nashville where I live, and it's not
Right.
too often. I did have a guy a couple weeks ago who saw me in a grocery store, and my son and I were coming back, excuse me, from I think it was a convention we were coming back from, and I happened to have on a Dr. Gangrene T-shirt, which I never wear a T-shirt of my own show very often, unless I'm wearing it under something, But I just that's what I happened to have, the last clean thing I had, and so we stopped at the grocery store, and this guy walks up and he goes, "Is that a horror host shirt?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "Who is that?" I said, "That's me."
Yeah.
And it turns out he's a neighbor. So that was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, in addition to your career as a host, we should mention you've done a lot of writing. You've won awards in that area. Does your writing get overlooked because there is a lot of attention directed to your character on TV?
Yeah, I think so. And I've done the short story collection and then the magazine stuff, but that's it, But the magazine interviews are fun, and I don't know what their readership is, how many people, again, very small niche thing,
Yeah.
I don't know how many people read nowadays, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, enough to keep the magazine going.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not, I mean, there's not enough of them really, but good for them for keeping it alive.
Who are some of the favorite people you've interviewed for your articles for Scary Monsters?
Ted V. Michaels was one of my favorites. Think who else? Then there's been so many. I really enjoyed talking with him. They're at the end of the original publisher, Dennis Drucktennis, before he turned it over to Don and Vicky Smeralda at Smeraldi, I believe. I'm not exactly sure I'm pronouncing that right. I'd used the column as a way to promote friends of mine who were doing artistic endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran interviews with a whole bunch of different artists and writer friends of mine. So that was always kind of cool, just to kind of get some promotion for friends of mine as well.
Yeah. How about Jeff Thompson? Has he been one of your interviews?
Yeah.
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 His knowledge is just remarkable. We can ask him about just about any film from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and he knows something about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've had Jeff on my show a few times also, both the Cinetarium and Chiller Cinema, both.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
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 Most recently, I had him on when we showed a Dan Curtis movie.
Oh, yeah. Which Dan Curtis movie was it?
It was the Scream of the Wolf.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's nobody that loves Dan Curtis more than Jeff. I'm a big fan of Dan Curtis, but I don't think anybody can quite match Jeff in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about his made-for-TV stuff that's just top-notch. I love it.
Yep, absolutely agree. And again, Jeff is a wealth of knowledge. Holy cow. He just, every time we speak with him, he just blows me away, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on kind of like today's horror community. How do you feel that it may or may not have changed since when you started coming up with the horror community?
Yeah, I think it's skewing a little younger than it used to, or maybe I'm just getting older. I don't know. Or maybe it always skewed younger. And the sensibilities for the movies are certainly different. I just went and saw the new Predator tonight. It's not exactly a horror movie, but I guess that's a little more science fiction. We just went and watched that earlier today. It's okay, but there's certainly a different feel to them,
Yeah.
from there. I did see Del Toro's Frankenstein and really enjoyed that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
was
I
um,
haven't seen that one yet.
the horror community, though. I tell you, I really love the community at conventions. They're the friendliest and best people. Um, go to those things and absolutely love the fans there and just the feel, the vibe. Um, yeah, it's one big happy family, kind of.
Oh, I think that's really neat. I've not been to a horror convention before, but I've been to a sci-fi convention a couple of years ago. It was my first time, and it's a wonderful vibe. Like,
Mhm.
everybody that I ever came into contact with, they were so genuine and so friendly. And I've heard that about the horror community too, from people who have gone to conventions as fans or have been a guest at conventions. So I think it's incredible. It's the horror community is really lovely, I feel.
Yeah, they really are. I guess people that aren't into horror movies might think, that it's scary and told the dog was chiming in. Hey, no, quit. Um, they might think that these people are scary and might be, but they're the best people in the world, the friendliest, the most fun, just
Mhm.
good-hearted people.
Oh my gosh. And I just have another quick question kind of pertaining to YouTube channels and the streaming channels that are out in the market. How do you feel that that might be reshaping, or how do you see the future of horror hosting with the addition of streaming and YouTube channels?
Yeah, everything's different. I mean, even from when I started in 1999, things have changed
Mhm.
really radically. Because even back then, being on cable television was kind of a big deal. You didn't have endless variety of entertainment options like you do now.
Mhm.
Now you've got streaming internet, which you didn't have when I started on TV. You've got, video games and um, cable, cable TV, internet television, YouTube, Roku, you name it. There's more movies. Tubi, there's more movies than you could ever watch. You have instant access to. So horror hosts have to compete with all of that now. So that being said, what you have to do is make these shows for yourself.
Right.
You
Yes.
know, do this because of the love of doing it. And for number one, you'll be happier that way. You'll be making the product that you want to make first and foremost. Um, you can't get caught up in all of the whole, worrying about, oh, am I going to get enough viewers, this and that. Your people will find you. If you make a good product and you put it out there, you will get fans. People will find you and they will like your work. But um, I think that's it. That
Yeah.
it's a definite, definitely way, way more options of of viewing that people have now. So that's why I don't take any of my viewers for granted. I appreciate them all so much, especially nowadays when they have so many more options of things they could
Mhm.
be doing. They choose to watch my show. I'm honored.
Oh no, that's amazing. And I just have one more quick question. Are there any recent horror films or creators or anybody that you can think of that's kind of making a mark in the horror genre that you feel has kind of been standing out from everybody else that's out there?
Well, I think Del Toro does no wrong. Like I said, I
Yeah.
saw Frankenstein. I saw it in a theater in Nashville at our
Mhm.
Belcourt Theater, which is our local art house theater, and it's beautiful. I don't know if you've watched it yet.
Not yet. Soon though, very soon.
Yeah, yeah, it is a work of art. So I think anytime he does something, I'm on board. I thought Nosferatu was really good too.
Yes.
I think Eggers has done nothing but great work. I've liked everything. I like The Lighthouse. I like Nosferatu. So I think he's great. Edgar Wright. I love his work. Um, Shaun of the Dead still holds up as one of just the great 21st century movies. It's 2000. It's probably the best 2000s horror movie of all, in my opinion. Every single time I watch it, I find something new. It's so clever. So
Mhm.
certainly he's a standout.
I'm curious, you mentioned Del Toro. Have you seen his series, The Strain, the vampire type series that was on the FX channel?
I watched some of it and I kind of,
Yeah.
you know, dropped off after 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's excellent. He's excellent. And Robert Eggers, he's got a new film coming out at the first of next year as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah.
Larry, before we let you go, a couple more questions wanted to ask you. First of all, how can people like me and Tracy outside of the Nashville area access your show? It is a local show, but are there ways for people out of the Tennessee area to watch it either live or maybe later on recorded?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a live stream on Roku. So if you have a Roku, the name of the channel is NECAT, NECAT. It stands for Nashville Education Community Arts Television. So NECAT, just look for NECAT, and then when you find just add their channel, and then when you do, there's 3 buttons, and you'll want to go to the access button. And
Okay.
Saturdays at 9 o'clock. Saturdays at 9 o'clock. It'll live stream. That's 9 Central.
Right.
9 p.m. Central, and you can watch it there. Or you can go to drgangrene.com, and I usually, unless I forget or something's going on, I usually will post the episode that's running on my website as well.
So that's NECAT, NECAT.
Yep.
And hit the access on that, or you can go to the website. That's Dr. Gangrene, no period after the R, right? drgangrene.com.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to start watching this. I mean, I've seen some clips of you and I follow you on Twitter, so I certainly have some familiarity, but I want to start watching your show in full. And it just sounds like a blast. Finally, Larry, wanted to ask you about this book project that you've been working on, and we do hope to have you back on the show to talk about it when it comes out. But tell us just a little bit about the book, when we might expect to see it available, either at Amazon or on bookstore shelves. Tell us about that, if you would, please.
Sure. I'm doing a book about the history of horror hosts in Nashville, starting with the very first host, which was Dr. Lucifer, going all the way up to the last host, which is me. And I hope to have it out next year when we have the companion documentary ready to go, which I am working on now and should have had done a long time ago, but I'm just so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to have them both out next year.
Very good. Well, we'll definitely look forward to that. We appreciate your time this past hour. Really have enjoyed the conversation with you. Again, our guest, Larry Underwood, aka Dr. Gangrene. He has been entertaining viewers in the Nashville area since 1999. His show, Dr. Gangrene's Cinetarium, airs 9 p.m. Central Saturday nights. So that would be 10 p.m. Eastern time in my neck of the woods. And I'm not sure what time that would be in Tracy's neck of the woods, but we'll figure that out. But anyway, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. Award-winning horror host, writer, actor, Larry Underwood. Larry, we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun. Thanks for having me on.
Our thanks to Dr. Gangrene for joining us on this edition of the Ghostly Gallery podcast. Of course, we thank my co-host and executive producer, Tracy Asteria. We thank all of you folks for listening and watching, joining us in this Museum of the Macabre, and we hope we'll see you again next time right here in the Ghostly Gallery.